endless skies. Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained, I thrive.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name's Chris Kalaboukis, and I'm coming at you from a beautifully sunny Silicon Valley, California. And I am the CTO of games, and we have
The CEO of Fun, Mary Bartnikowski, and I am coming to you from, I'm not always coming from here, but my home base of Silicon Valley, and I can help you start world travel no matter what your budget is.
fantastic. And we were talking about this just before the show. You know, people do that all the time, right? They say, well, in the green room, we were talking about et cetera, blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about money, 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 because money, money, money is a really important topic, especially when it comes to digital nomads over 50.
Absolutely.
Huge, huge. So,
Huge.
so what are you hearing?
Okay, here. Well, first I want to make this distinction. I have been traveling for the whole of my midlife experience, 20 years. It's
Hmm.
all been midlife. And what I'm hearing a lot of from people, mostly online, is the cost of it. What does it
Mm.
cost? Oh, it's going to be, I only have $5,000 for a 2-week vacation. Hey, that can actually last you 3 or 4 months in certain countries.
Oh yeah, as long as you don't stay in super high-end luxury hotels, right?
And I've stayed in them, and they're not actually the best place to stay. They're
Agreed.
fun. They're a good experience, and I think everybody should feel that way at some point in their life. But you know what? If you're going to live in another country, what does it cost? This is what we need to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. Because you could go to I mean, last time we were in Japan, we stayed 2 days in a hotel in Ginza, and it was over $500 a night. And I'm like,
Hmm.
2 days is enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the day prior to that, we were staying in a salaryman special. It was $40 a month, right? It was still like a bed in a room. It was a bit
Wait,
nice. Obviously
40
the
per
other hotel was
night.
nicer, but it was right beside it. It was crazy.
Okay, the $40 per night was right next to the $500 per night.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, this I experienced in Belize.
Mm.
I rented a bungalow, and actually, I loved renting that bungalow for $450 for the month. Now, I did
For the
negotiate
month,
in
not for the
person,
night, for the month.
and right next door was the $500 a night. And guess what? I got to tell this story. This is so funny because one day I'm in my bungalow and I liked it. I couldn't get Wi-Fi. I had to go out to get that. Okay. And I see this partier getting sick on the balcony of this $500 a night
Oh
place
no.
in full view. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. That doesn't mean the five-star place is going to have, only elegant and refined people there.
That's no guarantee, that's for sure.
And so I just thought this is so interesting because here I am in this little bungalow. Now that wasn't perfect either, but it was perfect for me for a couple of months.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it's like what we were saying, it's hard to imagine if you don't experience it, what it's actually like. And
Absolutely.
that happened to our Japan trip because when we looked at all the places we were going to stay, everything looked like it was $100, $200 a night, and I thought it's going to be expensive. And then I handed it over to my Japanese buddy who said, "Okay, let me deal with it," because he is a cheapskate. So he said, "Let me see what I could do." And he
Yep.
went through and he found rooms that were $20 to $40 a night
Yeah.
in those same areas.
Yeah.
So it is doable. You can even, especially if you're doing a longer trip, you can get it even cheaper.
Yeah. And see, this is what I have found too. I'll rent a room to land somewhere in a neighborhood I know I like. Like I could get on a plane to go to Bangkok right now, know exactly where I could get something, and then I would walk around and find a place and negotiate. See, we don't negotiate here in the United States. We just think when we hear a price, oh, that's the price. No,
Yeah.
they
Why
give
is
you the,
that? I wonder.
well, I think it's cultural. I think
Yeah.
because everybody else does it, well, in Asia, Mexico, South America, that's just part of their culture, but we don't do it. And so we don't get taught that you can do it.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
I
and it
find.
feels kind of weird to us when we do that, right?
It does feel weird until you start doing it and the price drops 50%.
Right. But you can't practice at Safeway or Target, right? You can't say, "Oh,
No.
I'll give you 20 bucks for this." It doesn't quite work in the retailers here.
Yeah, it's not going to work here. We're tipping culture and all of that. But, when you get open to it, that's why you don't know until your first negotiation in a country where everybody does it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard to get over that because I remember the first time I did it in Mexico once, and it felt weird
Yeah.
actually doing that.
Yeah.
But like once you get over that first hump, and everybody's doing it. I mean, everybody around you is doing it. They're all negotiating. They're all expecting that. They're all expecting the back and forth. But you just have to get into that mindset. It's kind of like when I was talking about before about driving in Italy, right? You have
Yes.
to act like you have to drive like the Italians. If you drive like the Italians, then you do really well. If you drive like an American, it's not going to work. So it's kind of like the when in Rome sort of thing, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh,
So you said so it's easy to find. It's relatively easy to find inexpensive accommodation.
when your boots on the ground.
Mm,
So that's the difference that people are a little bit afraid about because they want to just figure it out on booking and VRBO and all these. And that's not how you get the good prices.
yeah, that's true, right? I mean, it requires, but then again, you have to have sort of a mindset where you're okay to take that leap of faith,
Right.
right? Yeah.
That's what the mindset part. You have to actually believe that it's possible because when you're paying less money, it's just so unbelievably great.
Mm.
I mean, I've got a video of me arriving at my apartment that I rent every year in Sicily, and I'm so excited. And it was so fun to see that after like 3 months because it was like, even I forget. I
Yeah.
do this as a living, but even I forget how wonderful it is. And that's like 900 euros for the month.
Yeah. Well, I heard a story once. I'm not sure if this is true or if it's apocryphal, but some woman sold her home in Silicon Valley or in California and just decided to jump on cruise ship
I'm
for the
reading
rest of her
about
life
people doing this. Yes. And it's
because it was
true.
actually cheaper for her to live on a cruise ship for the rest of her life than it would be to live in a home in California.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing about alternative living. You can
Mm,
spend a lot less money. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's so many other opportunities that you can experience, even in our own country, which people don't believe are possible.
yes.
I mean, I know people that are caretaking in very high rent, expensive areas, and they get a room for free. And
Mm,
it's more of a companionship. It's not even like they can have an outside job. They can, there's a lot of freedom with it. And that's personal relationship. So, okay, the caveat I will tell you is that all of the time where I negotiated a price for something, like I found a bungalow in Thailand, Thailand, and it was less than $200 a month with
wow.
a kitchen. I mean, it wasn't all new and modern, but it was my house
Hmm.
with a bedroom and bathroom, a modern bathroom, actually, an open, nice front porch with a beautiful view. And they were happy to get it. But there's this thing in Thailand where they have this, it's kind of a scam. They think you don't know that you don't have to pay 6 months ahead of time.
Mm,
And so a lot of foreigners were like, "Oh, I can't get out of it because I paid six." Well, they tried that with me too, and I said, "No, I'm going to pay you for the month,
right.
and then next month I'll pay you for the month."
It's part of the
And
negotiations,
yeah,
right?
and they're like, "Oh, okay," and it's like, I'm not doing 6 months. I don't know what's going to happen to me in six. What if? I mean, 6 months. That's a long time for me.
So would you say that accommodations, I guess accommodations are the most expensive thing, right? Because you got the flight costs, and to get to where you're going. But then you're going to be there for a month or 2 months or a couple of weeks. That's the most
Yeah.
expensive thing you have to pay for. So that's the thing it's best to sort of tighten your budget on.
I think yes. And because you want to be comfortable, you don't want, like, you know, I haven't always found when I booked something online that it was perfect when
Well,
I
you mean the
got
internet,
there.
the pictures on the internet don't match the actual place? That never happens.
Not only that, the pictures don't match, but they don't include the sound of a dog barking
That's right.
24/7.
You never hear the sound of the neighbors or the barking or whatever.
Yeah,
The
or the
gunshots, the sirens.
construction, anything.
It's right.
So people don't even think about that.
No?
Or the safety.
Yeah. Well, I remember staying in a yurt in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and I thought, "Wow, this is great. A yurt in the jungle. This is fantastic." Of course, when we got there, as soon as it got dark, all you could hear was the jungle. It was
Yeah, it's
loud.
loud.
Insects, birds. It was so loud. And it's always a bad sign when you open up the side table and there's earplugs there. Like, oh no, uh-oh.
Yeah, it is. Wait, was this on the Big Island of Hawaii?
Yeah, yeah, it was in the Big Island.
Yeah, there's a lot of alternative things there. I lived on the Big Island for 6 months and I
Yeah,
lived in a little off-grid cabin for a couple months. I
yeah. You
liked
don't
it.
No, I mean it was great, but it's kind of like you don't know what it's like until you get there. So it almost makes sense for what you were saying before. It's like book a couple days in a regular hotel or even
Yeah.
Airbnb or something
Yeah.
when you get there. But then when you're there, as soon as you get there, once you have your boots on the ground, then you can do the looking around for a more permanent place.
There's a lot of stuff. Like even in Sicily, I noticed this last time, and it's winter. I see numbers and names on buildings saying call because this place is for rent.
Hmm.
Well, that means that they're either listed on Booking and they're putting the sign out, or they're not even on Booking and they're just putting the sign out. And
Right.
actually, I talked to this woman who was renting for 3 months there. In her place, I don't remember how she got it, but she was from, I think she was from England, and it was a very nice place. And it was the top floor. I liked mine better, but I thought her place was very nice, and it sounded like she had made that connection based on boots on the ground.
Right. Right. So that would be the best recommendation would be to sort of get there first and then ask around, right? I mean, I'm assuming like when you're sitting at the cafe having dinner, you can ask the server, you can say, "Hey, are there any rooms available?" Whatever. So there are ways of finding out.
Oh, absolutely. If you go to a bar and you start talking to people, even if you don't know English, they're gonna, I mean, personally, yeah, they're looking for tourists, but you
Mm,
also might luck into something where that happened to me. I was at a cafe in Sicily. This was several years, like one of my first times doing my boots on the ground thing. And
right.
this guy took me to this. It was bad. It was not good.
Well, I had this really bad advice given to me by my brother. He said, "Well, if I'm looking for a place on a Greek island, when you get off the ferry, there's always people trying, coming at you going, 'Oh, we have a room, we have a room, we have a room, we have a room.'" He said, "Just go with one of them. They know what they're talking about." I'm like, "No, do not do that."
Oh,
Because it took us like miles away. So what ended up happening is that they took us like almost a kilometer away and we had to turn around and come back to the port. And I said, "I want something near the port." So I waited until everybody disappeared and then just went for a walk around the port. And there was signs for rooms everywhere.
oh yeah, there is.
So we talk about
Okay,
how it's best to get a room for a couple of days and then you do your research when you're there.
precisely.
Okay.
So I think people are afraid to do that because everybody does stuff through online, but this is how you're going to make really good connections in the place where you're going to, and you might want to go back once you find a place that's decently priced. Like one time I found a place in Laos, in Vang
Hmm.
Vieng, Laos. There's no way I could have booked that online. Like this was, I don't know, about 10 years ago, but still, it was like a little bungalow on the river and it wasn't a high tourist time, but it's a
Right.
very touristy area. And they made a pretty good deal with me. I think it was like $12 a night, and I ended up staying a couple of weeks.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it seems like a kind of a leap. Like we were talking about earlier, how it's sort of a leap of faith. How do you get over that leap of faith
You know,
to
that's a
say,
re
I'm gonna stay for 2 weeks, but I'm only gonna book 2 days and I'm gonna see if I can find a place. How do you get over that?
it's a mindset. You
Mm,
have to believe, you have to trust people that have gone ahead of you and done the same thing and believe in yourself. It's like anything. It's like, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to have a relationship. I'm going to have this or that. It's like you have to believe it's possible. And if you don't, I don't think you can get it.
right.
I was actually just listening to Alex Hormozzi's wife,
Hmm.
and I really like her because the way she gives advice, and she was talking about mindset, and she didn't come from money at all. And she was saying, if you don't believe that you can have the money, you won't. And I thought, we've heard this a million times, but it's the same kind of thing. You have to believe that you're going to go there and you're going to be okay, and it's not going to cost a lot. And you have to have that. It's a faith thing. You
Yeah.
have to believe that it could absolutely happen to you.
Yeah, because I think that and it's a little bit of this manifestation stuff too, right? Because if you truly believe, and it's very difficult to truly believe. It's
Yeah,
so easy to question yourself and say to
right.
yourself, that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen, that's not going to happen. It's really difficult to truly believe. But even if you push yourself a bit and get yourself to believe somewhat, and then as dominoes start falling into place, the belief gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah, dominoes will fall.
Mm.
And you just need that first baby step to go, okay, I believe the dominoes are going to fall farther down. And it's exhilarating. I mean, what else didn't work the way
So
you
people
thought
have
it
to love
would?
roller coasters, basically.
You kind of do. Okay, well, let's use this as an example. Roller coasters, having a baby,
Right,
getting
right.
married, all of these things, you
Yeah,
don't
there's lots of unknowns.
really
Yeah,
know what's going to happen down the road.
yeah. But I think that it's kind of like I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous show, but I was talking about the bungee jumping thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching somebody bungee jump over and over and over again off this crane at this fair. And the more I saw people do it, the more I thought to myself, I could do that. I could do that because it's been done. I see other people doing it. They're doing it safely. It's all
Yes.
good.
Yes.
And it helps me get the courage to go ahead and do it. I didn't do it because it was too expensive, but I would I actually went up there and I asked, I took the steps because I
Yeah.
saw that people had done it over and over and over again and it seemed like it wasn't that big a deal. So if you
Well,
see other people doing it over and over and over again, and there's lots of us who are doing it, that then it feels it feels more doable when you see other people doing it.
well, it does. And, honestly, I didn't have the only person I saw doing it because when I started 20 years ago, I didn't know anybody doing it except for my son,
Right,
who was age 16. And I thought it should be easier for me because I'm older than him.
right.
That's what I thought. But I
Yeah.
didn't have anybody to look at. But your point is well taken. If you see other people doing it successfully, oh, um, Laura just did a recommendation for me on my site, and she said she used to live in Hawaii, and she said, I saw Mary doing it and having so much fun traveling the world before I knew anybody doing it. And so I started too, and now she
Mm.
goes to Morocco like 4 times a year. I mean, she's doing it. And I just loved that she said that because if you see someone doing it and they look happy and they have the information for you, then why not try it?
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I mean, what's somebody that did it, so it's like anything else. If you know somebody that went somewhere that had a good experience, maybe you'd like to try it too.
Yeah, exactly. And especially on Substack and other places where people are talking about their experiences, a lot of us are very accessible, right?
Oh,
If you want to
absolutely.
say, okay, I saw Mary doing this, I saw Mary doing that, I saw Chris doing this, I saw Chris doing that, just reach out and
Yeah.
say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Is this what do you think? Right? And then just have that conversation. It's not like, we're celebrities up in the ether that you can't talk to, right?
Well, now it's more people can connect better than ever. I mean, I
Sure.
find Substack to be like YouTube's a little contentious. Oh, I got to tell you the story.
Go for
I was on YouTube doing a live stream, and this guy gets on and says, "Oh, give Granny some love,"
it.
and actually
The
calls
hell?
me Granny.
Oh my God.
Can you believe this? And so I immediately said, "Oh no, this ageism isn't tolerated on this channel. You can go somewhere else."
Yeah, exactly.
And let him
Nuts.
know. But can you believe this? Like I'm not even used to this anymore. And so, but I thought, wow, okay, we've got some work to do. Somebody calling me
When you're
granny.
on live streams, you have to worry about that though. That sort of thing, right?
Well, I think it kind of it showed me in a bigger way how I can see why people, I mean, I liked using it as an example.
Hmm.
Yeah, some people are going to do that, but most people would be doing it here, not in other countries.
Right.
I get a lot more respect in Europe, in Asia, Mexico,
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
absolutely.
And that's what I want to share with people because it's like it's not like how it is here. Plus, when it happens here, I'm actually surprised because it has nothing to do with anything. If anything, yes, you should listen to me because I'm older and have experience. But if
Yeah,
you want to not benefit from that, it's fine. Go to another channel.
yeah. Although
But
I did get offended when the first time I ever got called uncle in Hawaii. I don't know why.
yeah, yeah. And I get called auntie, and I don't like it either. I think it's cultural. You just feel like I'm not your aunt. I'm not that old. Like I started hearing that at age
Yeah,
50.
because I mean, when I was in Singapore and everybody was calling the way much older people auntie and uncle,
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, okay, if you're calling me that, then
yeah,
that's what you think I fit into that category, and like I do not consider myself. And I guess I didn't say anything, but I like inwardly I felt offended. I guess that
yeah.
happens to all of us. It's right when you feel like, remember the first time somebody called you ma'am?
Oh, somebody just did the installation guy. And okay, that's what you think you should call me, but and then
Well, I
the
remember
oh
the first time I got called sir. I was like really young, and I thought, wow, that's good.
yeah,
I like that, but
I like
eventually it's kind of
sir.
like it flips around the other way, and you're like, I don't want to be called sir.
Well,
Stop calling
ma'am
me
is
sir.
even worse.
Oh yeah, ma'am's way worse.
Ma'am sounds like you're 150 years old. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly right.
I've experienced that in Asia, and it isn't pretty, but you just have to remind yourself, okay, it's cultural. Because, this is something that to be prepared for, people will say, ask how old you are, like in the first 5 seconds of knowing you.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, in Nepal, that's what happened to me. So I was with my son, and I was 48. And so they would ask me how old I was, and I was shocked. I didn't even know there was a culture where you would ask
Hmm.
that in the first minute of knowing anyone. But they're trying to label you because then they know they should call you auntie or Dee Dee.
Yeah.
That's the word there. And they don't know how to address you. That's why they're doing it. So I would just make a joke of it and say, "Oh, I'm 150 years old." And my son would be next to me going, "Ma, just tell them how old you are." And I'm like, I just am not comfortable.
Well, I was doing a tutorial for Greek just to prepare
Mm,
myself to go back to Greece again. And they were
hmm.
saying that one of the topics of conversation that you get right away is what you do for a living because they want to
Yeah.
peg you socioeconomically,
Yep.
right? So they want you to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm a doctor, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a, whatever." So they want to peg you somewhere on the scale so they know how to treat you. I
Yeah.
think that's what a lot of these cultures are like. They want to know, how should I address this person? How should I be with this person? I don't know where they fit on the culture scale, on the social economic scale, which is something Americans don't seem to care that much about.
I think Americans do care about it,
They just
but
don't say anything about
they
it.
don't say anything about it. Because look, we're in Silicon Valley. Absolutely, I've noticed this. People will check out, your car and all of this and your neighbor. See, I didn't know because I was living in Palo Alto for so long, getting that prestige of,
Yeah.
oh, you live in Palo Alto. Well, there's a lot of people with a lot of money that don't get brand new cars,
Hmm.
but there's sort of this new wealth kind of people that do.
Yes.
And so there is a lot of observation going on, but it's not talked about.
Oh yeah. It's all, see, that's one of the things that I always think about. People say, "Oh, there's no class system in America." And that's completely untrue. There's absolutely a class system. We
There's
just don't talk
certainly,
about it. We don't say
yep,
anything about it. We don't ask about it. But it
yes,
is there. It's absolutely there.
yeah, it is totally there. And
Yeah, so
so,
it's kind of refreshing when you go to another culture where it's kind of out in the open. So
yeah,
you can say, "Okay, you know what? Let's talk about it. Why not?" Right?
yeah, yeah. And, it is funny. It's a different way to look at it because you actually a lot of times don't want to be defined as some rich white person from a first world country because then you're going to be treated in a
Oh yeah, if
different
you're
way
defined
that
as a rich white tourist, I mean, they're going to go, "Okay, well, I think I can try getting some money off this person," right?
but you can negotiate that too by learning some language, by negotiating for prices because then when you find out what people are paying that live there and you intend on, you know, spending some money there and contributing something to the culture and ways of even just like talking to people and having them learn English and having a fun time that way. I mean, you don't have to be this person from another country that's just taking advantage.
Mm.
It's more like, yeah, it is more, I think it's better to see yourself as an immigrant because you're figuring out that, oh, you can live in some other places at a higher level than you could. Like you could get the same thing in another country for a better price. And
Right.
the people aren't being ripped off.
Yeah.
Like the people. So like for example, the apartment that I always rent in Sicily, I paid double that amount when I booked it online.
Hmm.
So then when I made the connection with them and offered the cash idea, they're not making less money because your taxes are so high. So you have to remember that. Of course, you have to be ethical about it, but they're not going to agree to it if they're not going to make some money on it. Like, of
Yep.
course, they were smart. They figured out that Sicily was going to be a place that people are going to want to go to, and they're making a good living. They own several properties, and
Yeah.
they're doing their own cleaning.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was told. But like last time we went to Greece, there was a little hotel that we stayed in a tiny little island near the south end of Greece, and she said, "Next time you come back, just call me directly,
Yes.
and I'll get you a special deal."
And I'm hearing this more too. Just call
Yeah.
me directly. Don't go to the booking. Great. The more connections I have like that around the world, the better. So
Exactly.
this is what you're making by doing it this way. You're making relationships with people. You're not just seeing them as, oh, I'm going to pay as little as possible. You're doing okay. You usually end up paying a little bit more than what people who are really living there are going to be paying, of course, but
Hmm.
that's okay because it's still less than what you would pay here, and it still makes travel affordable for people, even if you're traveling by yourself.
Exactly right. So how much would you say you'd have to have saved up to go on like, based on how much time you're going to be away, based on how much you saved up?
Well, it depends on the country. So here's what I would do when I would go to Asia, and I was going to Asia almost every year for a while. So I would save up about $6,000. And then
For how long of a trip?
for 6 month trip.
Wow.
Yeah,
You can actually live in Asia for
you you
$6,000 for
you
6 months.
can.
Wow. Holy
So
cow.
listen to this. I actually found now there's varying degrees of accommodation, but one time I was looking for a place in Chiang Mai to stay for up to 3 months, and I did end up staying 2 or 3, I can't remember. Um, and I looked at a bunch of places. I ended up in a modern kind of a high rise with a private deck,
Nice.
bathroom, no full kitchen, but you can just eat amazing food on the street, 3 meals a day for less than $10. And I
And that's
got
not a
myself
place you have to worry about
cleanliness, no.
cleanliness.
It's a very clean country. Everything is clean. Like you can
Mm.
see it. And the good thing about doing it on the street, getting the food on the street, is you see how it's cooked.
Right.
See, when I went to India and got deathly sick, I started going into kitchens to see how clean it was, and it wasn't.
And you turned around and left, walked right back out again.
And so, I would only go to a couple places that I knew were good because I ended up knowing the people. But in Thailand, I don't remember ever getting sick. There's so much street food and it's clean. And, I've been there at least 12 times
Yeah.
and was
I love
going
street
to,
food. I think
yeah,
I would go to a country and just have street food every single day if I could.
yeah. And that's what I did in that place. So I found this place and it was $225, including air conditioning
Wow.
for a studio. So it wasn't a big place. It was just one room with a modern bathroom, that little terrace deck, and Wi-Fi included. So, that was a deal. I looked at several other places that weren't as nice, that were pretty much the same price. It was near Chiang Mai University, so there was a lot going on, a lot of
Hmm.
coffee shops, a lot of nice restaurants.
Nice.
And, you can do it for cheaper. And,
So see,
I
6 months for $6,000, it seems like a total steal, like a
yeah,
complete steal. Is that typical for a lot of Southeast Asian countries?
yeah.
Mm,
And you can do it in Cambodia. You could even do it in Bali, which is a little more expensive, but not that much. Not if you start looking around and like I found a place in Bali, it was called Ben's Homestay.
Ben's Homestay.
Shout
Nice.
out to Ben. It was right outside of Ubud, just a tiny bit farther from the center, so you'd need to rent a motorbike. And he
Hmm.
rented motorbikes too. So I rented a motorbike. I think I stayed there a month.
Wow.
And it
And
was
no issues with their internet? You had internet there?
I'm trying to remember about the internet, and it was a while ago, so I think there was an issue with the internet, but it would be improved by now. So I stayed in like 3 different places in that place, and I think it was because of the internet.
Right.
Like trying, you got to move around. So like there's these compounds in Bali, family compounds, and the whole family lives there. And so then there's like separate rooms, even maybe this was like a whole separate building, or it might be a separate bungalow. Those places are less expensive. Plus, it's safe because
Mm,
you're in this compound that's usually got a fence around it. And then I found out there was a guest kitchen so I could make my own food if I
nice.
wanted. I mean, there's like all these benefits that you're not thinking of until you see them and go, "Oh, really? I'm only gonna have to pay." I think I moved up to the $15 a night room
Whoa.
because the
Really
one
splurging, aren't you?
I was really because I had kind of a budget for that one because I was right about to come back and
Right. So
start
you're
earning.
managing how much you had to. So let's switch. So let's switch to
Okay,
Europe. What about Europe?
Europe.
What
Okay.
would you say is a good budget for a European stay?
Okay, so it depends on the country, but I've been going to Italy and France every year, and I just figured out accommodation costs for the winter
Hmm.
between $50 and 100 a night
Hmm.
for hotel apartment. You can get it in that price range between
Right.
50 and 100, but only in winter because then I checked back in summer and the prices had doubled
So it's not 6K for 6 months. It's more like 6K for 1 month
for
or 3
3 months.
months.
Yeah, you can do it for 3 months. If you're not going out every single night.
Which of course is you can't that's as long as you can stay, right? The maximum amount of time you can stay in Europe
Yeah,
at right now
it-
is 90 days.
it's 90 days. And so
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing. And I did it this last time. And so I went, to the max 90 days.
Yep.
And so what you could do, it's called the Shengan Shuffle.
Hmm.
You've heard of this.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you go to Albania or Morocco or Turkey or somewhere that's not in the EU, and then just go back after 3 months.
Yeah. So
So I,
you can move around, but you have
yeah,
to leave. So you have to leave
you
the
have to
Schengen area.
leave.
Yeah.
You have to leave
For
the
at least three
Schengen
months.
for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
But, you don't have to go through the hassle of getting any visa. You could go to Ireland. You could go to North Africa. You could go to Turkey. I mean, all of these places are attractive
And inexpensive too.
and inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear Albania is up and coming.
It,
I haven't been there, but I hear a lot of good things about Albania.
Well, so I met this older woman. I think she was about 80. She had just come from Albania when I had moved to Syracuse for
Hmm.
my month stay there in Sicily. And so she was doing the Schengen Shuffle thing. So she was going to be there for 3 months, starting in February.
Yeah. But it's like you still, I mean, 6 grand for a 3 month stay, it's not that much money, really, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to talk about it because I think people are holding themselves back. I just did a consultation and a person said they had 5,000 for a 2-week vacation. I said, you can do anything you want you could go anywhere you want with $5,000 for 2 weeks. I mean, it'll be a more luxurious trip and I've done them and you've done them. But if you want your money to go farther and still have a comfortable, fun time, I mean, you know what? I've done the luxury, I've done the five-star hotels, and I personally don't think they're better than having Wi-Fi. This is my space. I can cook when I want. I mean, I love going to these farmer food markets. It's a blast. And
Yeah.
then trying out your Italian and they don't care that it's bad.
Yeah. And the thing with the hotels, especially, is that you're getting almost the exact same stay
Mm,
with fewer amenities and with a much higher price. Like 10 times,
10
10x, 20x
times.
times the price.
Yeah.
So you can save so much more money when you don't do it that way.
Well, and then your experience. Now, I wouldn't have known this if I didn't start volunteering and doing some volunteer projects, most of them I set up on the ground. Some of them I set up by email ahead of time, but most of them I didn't. And then you start being immersed in the culture and realize, oh, I actually, like one time when I've been to Nepal 6 times and my son lived there. One time I went to visit him and he was renting several different places. He was renting a place in the mountains for like 90 a month.
Wow.
And then he was renting another place, and then he ended up buying land. He had properties there that he owned, and then
See, I think that it's really difficult to get over the mindset of how expensive things are here.
right.
It's just, I don't know how to get people to experience it without going there, but I'm assuming there's probably places somewhere online where you can see like really inexpensive properties too,
Yeah,
right?
I have looked up. Well, I don't know about that. I have looked up like costs for different countries,
Yeah.
but it's still different when you get there. So the thing is about the mindset is that I don't think people are really going to get it, and I didn't either until I was actually paying $12 a night for a
Yeah.
decent hotel room
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
paying $12 for a Thai massage, which it's still $12 because one of my
Wait
best
a minute.
friends just got back.
$12 for a
Yes,
massage.
she just got back
What
from
was it? Three
Thailand.
minutes long?
No, an hour for a Thai massage. Like
Wow.
I've even paid $3 in the farm
Wow. And those
community
Thai
where I was.
massages, they really get come at you with the elbows and everything,
They,
right?
yeah, they work on it. And so, so you can pay like 12 to $25, but you could pay less.
Wow.
Also, I'm not kidding. I paid $3 for a massage from
Right.
the best person I've ever had one from in a farming village
Yeah.
where my son was ordained as a monk. Then, that community, I haven't been in a while, but prices are not changed that much because my friend just got back from Bangkok and Phuket and she told me what everything costs.
Mm.
Same as what it was 10 years ago. And she
Yeah.
had a more, not like a village level immersion experience. She was being a tourist and she said she got an amazing place for $50 a night in Bangkok and went to Phuket and paid the same amount. And Phuket's
So
more like Miami.
so outside of accommodations or a
Okay.
place to live, that's the most
Okay.
expensive thing. But what else is there? Are there other things that people have to think about?
Yeah, I think you have to. I thought a good thing to talk about would be healthcare, but it doesn't end up being a lot. Like I've gotten healthcare in India, Guatemala, Thailand, Bali. Where else? Cambodia.
And this
No,
is just
not
you paying out of pocket.
and just me paying out of pocket. And in Thailand, I actually paid because I got in a motorbike accident,
Oh,
stitches, emergency,
ouch.
everything. Guess how much it was? Less than
You
$200.
gotta be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. In fact, I went to pay. They did everything, and I didn't ask because I'm laying there. I need help, and everything, including the medication in my arm sprain, was. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so much money. And I'd been there a while, but I thought, oh, this is probably going to be $500 or something, and it was less than 200.
Yeah, even $500 would be something, right? Because
I
here it would be
know.
like 40,000 or
I
some
know.
insane number.
I know. It'd be insane. And so, okay, it was a public hospital because it wasn't the private one I'm used to going to. It would have been more to go to the private. And I was concerned it was public, but I got excellent care.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's one of the things. That's yet another. That's probably the next major expense if something happens,
If
right?
something
If
happened.
nothing were to happen, then you're pretty much okay, right? I mean, obviously there's just living expenses, food and things like that. But if you're somewhere for a long period of time, then you probably want to cook for yourself and act like you're living there.
You're going to want to, just because, in a lot of these countries that I go to, in fact, all of them, the fresh produce is so good. And then
Mm,
you discover all these things. Seafood is amazingly just came out of the sea. I mean, why wouldn't you want to try it yourself? And then the other thing is, I really feel more healthy in other countries because there's no additives and all. I don't do preservatives. I don't need to eat stuff that we have here from way
yeah,
over there. Like there
yeah,
was a grocery store in Chiang Mai that every all the expats went to, and I went and I was like, I'm not paying whole food prices.
yeah,
I'd rather go to the market down the street from me and get these beautiful, fruits and vegetables.
yeah.
I
Well, that's
don't,
another thing people have to get over is that, I mean, I always enjoy eating the native food of wherever I am locally, right? I
yeah,
want to try that. I don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory in Honolulu, right?
yeah.
But the lineups are immense. I'm like, why are people doing this? You're in a completely different place with a completely different culture
I
and
don't
completely
know.
different food. Don't you want to experience that as well?
I don't know why they would do that. Well, I
Yeah.
don't eat it here, so I certainly don't need it over there. But yeah, well, for me, food is a big part of the fun of traveling. And
Yeah, it's part of the experience.
I I think, when people taste the different things you can taste. Now, travel isn't for everyone, but we're on here so we can help people do this big adventure at an in for today at an affordable price because it's not what people have told you. Because
Yeah.
I've done it and been doing it for years, Now you do have to take care of yourself. Like I will say that in Bali and maybe a little bit in Thailand, if there's construction going on, there isn't always the safety, like you know how when you're walking around here, like if there's a big hole in the ground, it's going to be blocked off.
Yeah. Sometimes the holes are not blocked off.
And so you better be watching out because this is something I need to do personally because I'm always looking around, looking at stuff. Oh, I want to take a picture or something. And it's just so new and fresh and exciting. Be
Yeah, and the other
careful.
thing, in Europe, the pedestrians do not have the right of way.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. And that's true in Asia
It's
10
like watch out when you
times.
step off the curb.
Oh my
It's like they will
God.
not stop for you.
No, no. And they won't, you're going to be dead if you try that in Asia. So that was hard to
Yeah.
get used to, I've got to say.
But you think about it, it kind of makes sense because pedestrians are definitely more nimble and agile. We can leap out of the way,
We could leap out of the way.
whereas it's
Oh my
difficult to
God.
like a 2-ton vehicle. Like,
Varying degrees of aptitude with the driving. Oh my gosh. Wow. I, yeah, I mean, personally, that's another reason I like taking the trains.
but you still have to cross streets every now and then. So there's a lot of you do walk a lot more. That's the other thing. Our culture is very anti-walking. Like even
Oh
when you
yeah.
drive to the grocery store, you try to find a spot as close as possible. It's like, no,
Oh, you know what I'm
we
doing now? I'm
discourage walking for some reason.
I'm actually parking farther away because it's less of a hassle. Because if
Yeah.
you go closer now, this is a new thing I'm doing lately because I'm not getting enough walking steps in like I was in Europe. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna park a block away. And it's so much easier because it's not all these cars right near the entrance. I'm like, I'm gonna do this every time.
Yeah, you just have to budget your time for it. That's all. Because you think to
You
yourself, oh, it's
do.
only going to take me like 15 minutes to get to Target. I'm like, okay, now if I park a block away, then I have to factor in the extra 5 minutes or whatever time it takes
But
to do that.
we're too much on our, oh, we're such speedy. Like, I know, and I do it too. As soon as I get back here, I'm like, oh, I'm in such a rush and everything, but that doesn't ever bode well.
Well, that's another thing that I think is interesting, but our culture is so time focused. Everything has to be done quickly, right? And there's
Hmm.
lots of other cultures that are have a completely different perception of time. And I think
Yeah.
probably the closest thing that people get to it when they go to Hawaii, and you think about Hawaiian time, right, which is a completely different thing. But
Yeah.
every culture has a completely different perception of time. Like for example, when I was in Japan, everything just slowed. Even though it was quick in the city, it's like people would take, 10, 20, 30 years to do something that we'd want to do in like 5 minutes, right?
Ah, yeah.
The time perception is completely different. And that's something that takes getting used to as well.
Well, and it's not like, for example, the owners of that apartment, they're really working in the hospitality industry and they're 100% Sicilian.
Hmm.
Now, I see a change in some areas since I started traveling 20 years ago. I really feel like the smart people, and I'm not saying you're not smart if you don't do this, but certain smart people are going, hey, I can be in the hospitality industry, but that's a lot of work if
Mm,
you're successful. And, like, I'm just so grateful I found them because they're really lovely people. And they don't think of their places that they're renting out, which I don't think would be true here. They're not thinking of their places, you can tell because they're cleaning them themselves, as, oh, I'm going to make so much money with these people and I'm just going to do the bare minimum. Like I've run into that in my
mm,
travels too, and it's like it's kind of disheartening in a way because you wouldn't mind paying more if you got that kind of service and
exactly.
you had a nice connection with the people. I don't mind paying them because I think what they do is amazing.
And it's still way, way, way less than you'd pay at a impersonal hotel.
Yeah, but it could be actually what they would make anyway, just without the taxes from, being online. Like taxes are super high in France and Italy for
Oh yeah.
people to do business. And so, if you're doing cash, cash is still king. I
Hmm.
mean, I just feel like people have gotten away from that as a bargaining chip of making things
Here.
possible here. I'm
Absolutely.
not saying you can't do it on the platforms. You certainly can, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't totally rely on them.
No. So let's talk about bartering and bargaining a little bit because I think
Okay.
that like ties in right into the money thing. So you're trying to make your
Okay.
money last longer. I know that in the States you don't do that. You don't bargain, you don't barter. But is everything up for bartering where like whenever we go anywhere else?
I'm trying to think when I bartered. Um, well, I actually have done bartering in the United States for my photography services
Hmm.
because everybody needs them. So I've done
Sure.
that for some pretty high level things. But traveling, well, I've certainly done it for volunteering.
What about finding accommodations? Like you said, if you were gonna you do you just typically when you're looking for accommodations, do you just typically, pay whatever they say? Like if it's
Oh, okay.
50 bucks a
So,
night or 20 bucks a night or if you're talking
okay.
directly to the owner.
Okay. So this is what I do. If I don't bring up price right away,
Hmm.
so I look at the place. I want to have the tour, ask the questions. I want them to say the price first.
Right. So you
And
always have
then,
them say the price first.
yeah, that's a big tip that I've learned. And then when they say it, because here's what I've learned about negotiating in different countries. A lot of times you give them the opportunity to say a much higher price.
Hmm.
And then if you've done your due diligence in the neighborhood, you know what stuff costs. And that, see, that's very helpful. And then
Mm.
you know that it's extra because it's online because of the taxes. So you
Right.
can say, well, I would like to rent it for the whole month. Could you
Hmm.
do it for the price you want to do it for?
So you just pick a price that you think is reasonable, or do you base it on what they've asked about?
Well, both. You want
Hmm.
to hear the price that they give. And I actually just recently did this in Palermo in a place that I had rented. This would be the third time, and I was going to stay a couple nights, and I suggested a price based on what I'd already paid, but this would be cheaper because it was cash.
Hmm.
And then they accepted it.
So would you say something like, so if they say it's, 500 bucks a month or
Hmm.
500 bucks or like, I don't know, 40 bucks a day, calculate it out, and they say, well, you say, well, I want to stay for a month, and you give the figure, or you just say, I want to stay for a month and see what they come back to you with.
No, I would say I want to stay for a month. Could you do it for?
Okay.
Because they're probably going to come up with the high one.
Right. So,
So
so you're gonna have to
I
negotiate
want
them back down to the price that
to,
you want to pay.
yeah, I don't want to do a lot of talking, but I want to have a price in mind that I would pay for the month. Plus, I want to assure them that I'm going to stay for a month.
Right. So once you get into the I'll stay here for 500, but they want 750. How do you get to the middle ground?
Well, that's when I mention the cash.
Oh, okay. That's
Because the cash
so
thing
daily,
helps
monthly, cash,
cash.
and then that's for like the probably the final spot where you say,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I'll give it to you in cash."
Yeah. And then usually people
You
are
get the big
much,
discount.
yeah. Once they know that, because no one does cash anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's a bargaining chip. Now, I found out from a friend of mine who was renting another apartment on the same street. She said, "Oh, and then when I got here, he said he wanted cash." And I'm like, I, for me, if they wanted cash, then they've got to give another discount.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
so,
and typically they do. From my experience, it's
yeah,
like, okay, I have this, you just rang this up for 14 bucks, but I'll give it to you for 12. if you pay cash. Like, okay.
And it doesn't always work, but
No.
most of the time it does.
Yeah.
I did try it once in France, and it was even just like a little less than, I mean, I don't even think she would have made any less than doing it online because of the taxes, but she didn't want to do it.
Right.
And she was a little bit offended, and I was like, so sorry. We could do it for what you said. It wasn't even that much more, but
Right.
she had been offended, and I thought, okay, but it turned out fine because it wasn't the kind of situation I wanted to repeat.
Right.
Sorry.
This has been fantastic. Do you have any final words?
Just do it and don't let your thinking hold you back from having the biggest adventure of your life. You're going to have so much fun. And if you need help, book a one-to-one session with me. I'll get you on the road. You've got to do it. If it's in your heart, you've really got to do it.
Absolutely. And all the links are down in the show notes to contact either of us. Look, we're not super big celebrities. Just reach out. We'll talk. Not yet, at least. Not yet, at least. All right. Thank you so much. It was
Oh,
great.
Oh, I